What are the best travel hacks? Well, I don't know if you've noticed this, but travel can be a little hairy now and again, especially with flight cancellations and all these airline systems going down. By the end of this video, you're going to discover some cool travel hacks that are going to allow you to travel like a pro, no matter what happens. First, I'm going to help you avoid some of the mistakes that can completely ruin your personal or business travel. Second, I'll share some tools that you can use to uncover great deals. And lastly, I'm going to give you a travel hack that ensures that you never are left without a backup plan again. Let's get started. So why am I talking to you about travel hacks? As someone who's a professional speaker, I'd take over 100 business flights per year and have for over a decade. But not only that, I'm a little bit of an adventure traveler, so I travel a lot on my own too. I've seen a lot of things, and I tend to avoid some of the issues that many other people have when they haven't traveled as much, and so I just want to pass on that knowledge to you. Now, the first piece of advice I'm going to give you might be a little hard for you to digest, but I want you to listen carefully, and that is, do not ever book third party when it comes to flights or hotels. What is a third party? Third parties are organizations like Hotwire or Priceline or any of these places where you're buying your tickets through them and not the actual company that owns the airplanes or that owns the hotel rooms. Now I know what you're thinking. Oh, but I can get a better deal on there. I'm gonna get a better deal. Why wouldn't I do it? Listen to me carefully. In addition to being a professional speaker, in a past life, I was a hotel revenue manager. What that means is that I was the person who set the rates for the hotels, and I was the person who's also in charge of reservations. And so every day when we sold out, on those days where we sold out or oversold, we'd compile a list of the people we were going to walk. What are people that you walk? Those are the people where you have an agreement with another hotel, usually not as nice as yours, and you send those people to that hotel. You might even provide them transportation to get them over there. But if you only have 100 rooms and you've sold 105 rooms and you didn't get as many cancellations as you had planned, you have to knock out about 5 people, right? So how do hotels and even airlines decide who isn't going to make the cut? Well, with hotels, you might think, well, that's easy. The last 5 people to arrive, right? Wrong. That's not how this works. At the beginning of the day, staff members of that hotel, probably someone that was in a position like I was in, has already decided who is going to be walked out of that hotel. And everyone at all the hotels use the same process. Are you ready? So you don't want to get rid of people who are your best guests. Those repeat guests, you're never going to walk them. Those people who are brand loyal, you're not going to walk them either. If you have any kind of special rate codes with organizations like AARP or something like that, you're going to keep them because you want them to be happy with your hotel. You give them a little discount, but they keep sending people over. The people that you walk are third-party bookers. The people that book through a third party, like online, maybe they got it as part of a package, maybe they got a nice cheap deal, maybe they didn't even know where they were staying. It's something called opaque where you bid on an area that you want to stay in, and then after you pay, they tell you which hotel it is. Those are the people we walk. Why do we walk those people? Because they're not brand loyal. They don't care about the hotel. So if you're going to irritate anyone, irritate the people that are least likely to come back. What does that mean for you? If you book third party for a hotel, what that means is that if they need to walk someone, you're going to be the first one to be walked. So whatever discount you're getting probably isn't worth it because you run that risk. And airlines are the same way. If there's an issue where there's a flight cancellation or something where they have to bump people, third party people are in trouble because guess what? When you call up the company that you booked that ticket through, they don't own any planes. And so the airline's always going to take care of their own people first, and you will be the last on the list. So I gave you a lot of words because I know some of you are going to want to debate back and forth. Do it at your own risk, but tip number 1, do not ever book third party. If you see a good deal with a third party organization, go ahead, call the hotel directly, try to call into the airline directly. Tell them what rate you're seeing for this other company and watch how most of the time they'll match it anyways. And you'll be with them and you'll be less likely to be walked or bumped. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, use tools like Skyscanner or Google Flights. They have a track prices option that you can turn on any flights so that you can see when flight prices start to go down or fluctuate. This will allow you to be able to book things in their best optimal window. So again, don't just book something immediately if you're trying to save money. Use one of those 2 services. There's others as well, but I want to keep it simple with 2 of my favorites. Tip number 3. This is going to be hard, But if you do this, especially when it comes to flights, it's going to make your life easier. And that is fly carry-on only. I know. I feel some of the ladies groaning right now, especially some of the men with big clothes. They're like, look, you're a small woman. Trust me, you want to fly carry-on only whenever humanly possible. Even when I fly to other countries and I'm gone for a couple weeks at a time, I fly carry-on only. Here's the reason why. If there's any type of flight cancellation or flight issue or hiccup, airlines can not only put you on one of their other flights, but certain airlines actually have agreements with other airlines. And I don't mean partners. For instance, United can put you on Delta and American flights. You may or may not have known that. But here's the problem. If you've already checked your bag onto the flight and now they're having issues and they can put you on another flight, they can't do it if they can't recover your bag quickly, which in most cases, if your bag is checked, you're not getting that bag anytime soon. And so when you check a bag, it limits your ability to be able to jump onto other flights with the same airline or another one. I can't even count how many times having carry-on has saved me when the airline has had to put me on a different flight. But they would not have been able to do it if I had checked bags. I think one really good example was, I remember several years ago, I was traveling to Puerto Rico with my 5-year-old nephew. Every year he gets to choose where he wants to go, and that year he wanted to go to Puerto Rico. Well, on the way back, there were some issues. I won't even get into all the pieces, but basically they gave our plane away. That's the best way to put it. They gave our plane away to a flight that was supposed to leave the day prior to our same location. So they were going to hold everyone on my flight over a day, 24 hours. So these other people wouldn't have been held over 2 days. I wasn't having it. I had a 5-year-old. Puerto Rico's airport is this big, and I needed to get back to work. And so I went over to the desk immediately before anyone else actually realized what had happened. They'd just done the gate switches and people didn't realize what was happening. I had traveled enough where I realized, oh, they just gave away our plane. I ran up and I said, hey, is there any more availability on this flight, this one that's going to leave today now from this gate? And she said, we only have 2 seats available. I said, I'll take them. And she said, oh, but do you have any checked luggage? I said, I do not. I got the last 2 seats. So again, carry on only. If you're trying to figure out how this is possible, I'll give you some tips. 1, you may not be able to bring clothes for every single day. So you might want to plan for washing your clothes if you're on an extended trip. Number 2, pack in the same color group. That way you have less shoes, less accessories, less things that are likely going to need to be put into a larger piece of luggage, right? So you also want to limit your shoes. I know some of the ladies, some men too, but a lot of the ladies are like, how do you do that? If you have a carry-on bag, typically you're going to have 1 pair of shoes on your feet, the biggest pair, and then maybe get 2 other pairs in your carry-on. Other than that, keep it simple. Also, do not pack options. If you're going to be gone for 5 days and you have enough space for 5 outfits, pack those. Don't start packing, well, in case I feel this way, I'll do this, or maybe if this happens, I'll do this. Grab something else when you're there if you have to. But limit the amount of options you have so you can get them all into a carry-on bag. If you want a moment of nostalgia, you can actually go to YouTube and actually Google Crystal Washington, Harry Connick Jr. I used to be their travel person they'd bring in on Carrie's show to show some travel hacks. You'll actually find a video there where I'm showing you how you can use travel cubes, which is something where you can pack your things into little cubes to fit more in a bag, or how to do weaving, which is what I actually do to get all my clothes in, where all my clothes are kind of weaved together in this pattern, but you can get more in the bag. So again, carry on only. So I'm going to pause right here. I have some more juicy tips for you, but here's my question. Have you subscribed to this channel yet? If you have not subscribed to the channel, please take a moment, go ahead and subscribe. And while you're at it, give this video a like, because I know I'm giving you tips that you've never heard of before. So go ahead, give it a like, go ahead and subscribe. Another tip I have for you, if you're going to use credit cards, use point-based cards. They could be with an airline or with another company, but something where you can get travel discounts based on using the card. But make sure you pay off this card monthly. So do not purchase things that you wouldn't normally purchase if you were using your check card. It should be paid off monthly, but now you can use these points that you're accumulating to actually get cheaper tickets. And while you're at it, try to be airline loyal whenever possible, because you can build status within airlines as well, which will get you additional benefits. It means that if something goes wrong in the travel atmosphere with cancellations, you're going to be on a higher priority to be rebooked. And it even increases the chances of you getting a complimentary upgrade, which, I don't know about you, a free upgrade to first class is always welcome. So my last and final tip for you is one that I'm pretty sure you haven't heard of before, but is so important, especially right now when travel's a little weird. Whenever anything happens in terms of a flight cancellation or switching times or anything that's kind of interesting going on, you want to be the first person to react. I mentioned earlier that story of Puerto Rico where I noticed the gate changes between these two flights that were going to the same place and one had been held over the day before. I recognized before it was announced and before anyone knew it was happening that our plane had been given away. If you see you have a flight that's leaving around 10 p.m. and you see that the flight is going to be late arriving, per the app it's even showing it's going to be about 3 hours late, start thinking ahead of time because there's a very good chance that that crew is going to time out. A crew can only be in the air for so many hours. So by the time they get there at 1 o'clock in the morning, you're probably not going where you think you're going. So start getting ahead of it, asking them, okay, what kind of hotel accommodations can you all provide? Can you do a voucher? Start getting ahead of it. Call into the line. If you can't get someone at the airport, if you want to try to talk to someone, maybe you have a little status, call into that line ahead of time saying, hey, I'm 99.9% sure they're about to cancel our flight. What should I do so that I can get vouchers? What can you book me on for tomorrow? Can you hold a seat on another flight at the same time? Or, hey, can you go ahead and put me on this Delta flight that's leaving in 30 minutes? It's just across the walkway from me. I can get to that if you're on a different airline. At the end of the day, whenever there's any type of travel complications, you want to get ahead of the crowd because once everyone figures out what's going on, it's too late. Now you have all these lines and people are scrambling. But if you're the first one to figure out, you're going to be the first one to go and get a rental car and drive where you need to go if it's 3 or 4 hours away. But if you don't realize it until everyone else does, now all the rental cars are sold out. So from now on, I want you to be extremely proactive, especially in flying. When you start to see things that look a little suspicious, ask yourself, what does this mean? And how can you ensure yourself against this possible negative scenario? It's kind of like thinking like a futurist, but while you're traveling. Speaking of thinking like a futurist, if you go into the description of this video right now, you're going to see that there's a free download for a Future Ready Playbook. This playbook is chock full of activities and insights that will help you plan your future and have success no matter what the world sends your way. Maybe things happen the way you expect, maybe they don't, but either way it goes, you'll be able to accomplish your personal and professional goals using those tools. Go ahead and download that right now.